Step Mark?
Stamat, S-T-A-M-A-T.
Great. And just bear with me for a second to be followed by Jerry Schultz. Ms. Stamat.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Stamat. I live on 28 Woodcrest Drive in Prospect. I've lived here for 15 years, and I'm speaking to express my anger about the proposed VME wind turbines in Prospect. These structures are going to be too close to homes and need to be set back. There are people with health issues such as seizure disorders and brain cancer whose quality of life will surely be impacted. I'm not against green energy or protecting the environment, but aren't people also part of that environment, and do they not deserve to be protected? Therefore, it's imperative that the utmost consideration is given to the health, safety and protection of the citizens and residents of Prospect before it's too late. Thank you.
Jerry Schultz, to be followed by Jeff Cernelli.
I'm going to pass and submit mine in writing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Schultz. You'll submit yours in writing, and we do read all the statements that are submitted. Jeff Cernelli, to be followed by Helen Plant. Mr. Cernelli.
Jeff Sarnelli, S-A-R-N-E-L-L-I, 58 Putting Green Lane, Prospect. I'm going to read from my anti-turbine app, just for sake of time. I'd just like to thank you all for granting us this opportunity to have this public forum, so I really appreciate it. My house will be about a mile to a mile and a quarter away from each proposed turbine. And I want to just let you know that I'm a voice from a different neighborhood, not from the direct affected neighborhood. And it is not just about one neighborhood. There are plenty of other people in neighborhoods in town that have concerns. A couple years ago, I went to put a shed in my yard, and the town has regulations that say I can't put it too close to my neighbor's property. You know, it's an 8 by 10 shed, no more than, let's say, 10 feet high. But they didn't want it too close to my neighbor's property because, you know, they want to protect his quality of life and what they come to know of their property. Yet, with the shed, there are no health or safety risks. It's merely a structure that will just sit there. But when you look at this wind turbine project, we're talking about two near 500-foot structures that will have hundreds of homes and a major road in their shadows. I'll leave, you know, to what extent there will be health and safety risks, I'll leave to you guys and your decisions and your research. But from the research I've done independently, I certainly have found that there have been issues, and there will be examples of that well within the distances of BME's proposal. You know, I respect someone's right to be for or against anything, especially this project. But what I do want to understand is their motivation. And, you know, on one hand, we have a company that's looking to make millions of dollars. And on the other, you have a neighborhood filled with people, just like you and I, that are merely trying to protect and preserve their quality of life. You know, there's many people in this room that have spent countless hours and sleepless nights to debate this issue, to research this issue. And I don't think that those fears and concerns should be just cast aside by someone to say that they're anti-green, they're not for green energy, or they simply don't want this in their backyard. I feel like that's a lot of stress and time to put in merely because you simply don't want this around you. And, you know, it makes me just take a step back and look at the motivation on each side. And after I take that step back, I feel like things become crystal clear. Thank you.
How to make those words that large that I can read them. Helen Plant, to be followed by Dawn Riley. Ms. Plant.
Hello, I'm Helen Plant, P-L-A-N-T-E. I live at 5 Rosewood Drive in Prospect. I grew up in Prospect. I actually grew up very close to where the proposed turbines are expected to go. But I do, in fact, live 3 miles away with my husband and family. When we heard about this proposed turbine, we thought, let's learn more about it before we make a decision. And I learned quite a bit in my research. While my home is not directly affected, my husband and I both feel very strongly that this is the wrong location for industrial wind turbines. A residential neighborhood shouldn't even be considered at all in siting industrial wind turbines. The residents of this neighborhood will suffer the loss of their safety, health, and property value if these turbines are allowed to be built there. We ask you to please deny this petition and protect all the residents of that area. Thank you.
To be followed by Luigi.
Hi, thank you for taking the time to hear us out. My name is Judy Brown, B-R-O-W-N. I live at 1 George Street, which is approximately 1,200 feet from the site of the wind turbines. What I'm most concerned about is the property soil has already been determined to have been contaminated, and I'm curious if when construction would start and any dynamite blasting to build these massive turbines, how that will disturb this contaminated soil, which will then affect wells in the area, possibly the reservoir that is in the area as well. It's been determined by the DEP, I believe, that they don't know how far the contamination is actually defined. So if any blasting is done or even the subsequent operation of the turbines disturbs that soil, what happens to my water supply and those around me and even in the entire area. I think that's a concern that has to be looked at, as well as the other issues that you've heard from everyone that's here as well. Being so close to the site, I'm concerned about, of course, the safety of my family and those families that live around me, as far as being defined within a hard hat area as well. And I just hope that every aspect is looked at, as well as just those that have been mentioned, including the contaminated soil issue, as I don't think that's been brought up before, and the site has been uninhabited for many years due to that reason, and hasn't had any other construction or any other projects, I think, as a result of that issue. So I thank you again for hearing us out, and hope that you take that into consideration when you make your decision.